Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, okay, cool. You guys are good?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. It's really quiet for some reason. I wonder why. Oh well, I'm gonna mute you all anyway, so it doesn't matter what you say. I'm just gonna switch my screen. And what we're gonna do today, some neck stuff, some back, our shoulders, our shoulder blade, and our shoulder as in where our arm is attaching to our torso or connects to the shoulder blade. And then we'll try and finish up with just a little bit of elbow and wrist stuff. Yeah, that's the plan. We're gonna do a couple of reps of these first few movements, and what I want you guys to try to do is think about smaller range of motion and increase that range of motion from rep to rep, as if you're doing like, you know, you're gonna do 5 of them in a row, and consider the first one as your like warm-up set, and by the 5th one, that's gonna be like your working set, just like when you're warming up or barbell exercises. Everybody's cool with that? Sweet. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work our neck a little bit. For today, if you guys have like a yoga block, then totally awesome. It's not necessary, but you might find it handy. For this very first drill, I'm just going to, just because I might as well go into a little bit of bonus time here, I'm gonna sit onto my heels, and I'm gonna get a little bit of length coming in through the front side of my ankle by flicking my toes under. If that's an uncomfortable position for you guys, or you can stick the yoga block underneath your hips like I'm gonna do, just to take away some of the stretch, so it's a little bit more accustomed to work for you. Also make sure that whatever variation you choose, if you're gonna kneel, that you're trying to keep your heels together so they're not splitting apart from each other. I'm going to put my right hand behind my hip. And I'm just going to sit myself back here a little bit so I can see people a bit better. I have this up on my TV. So yeah, my right hand's going to go behind my hip, and I'm just going to try to roll my shoulder down and back. So I feel just a gentle stretch through front side of my right shoulder. And now I'm going to work my neck. Small range of motion. I'm going to roll my chin forwards. I'm going to feel length coming back side of the neck. I'm going to scrape my chin across my collarbone, and outside edge of the collarbone, I'm going to look gently over left shoulder, and then I'll lift my Adam's apple and my chin up. Geez, really had to struggle for that. And at center line, I'll come back squared off facing forwards. Roll chin forwards, scrape chin across collarbone, a little bit of a bigger rep, looking a little further over left shoulder. Lift Adam's apple, lift chin, rolling it backwards, and at center, drop down. We're going to do 3 more. So now we'll try to get chin closer to chest, scraping a little further across the collarbone, looking further over shoulder, lean back, and we come to center. 2 more reps. And notice all that stretch that comes on from that stuff like front side of your shoulder and outside of your neck as you go through these reps here. Coming across, outside of collarbone, look over shoulder, lifting higher, and now this being our biggest rep. Roll forwards, scrape collarbone, lean back, look over, and center. I'm actually going to face my hat forward because it's kind of scraping against my back. So what I want you to think about when you guys are doing this is imagine like when you're trying to wrap your wrists, or like when a boxer is, say, wrapping their wrists, and not only are they just spinning the tape around their wrist, but they're actually pulling at that tape the whole time. So I want you to think about doing that with your spine. You're trying to pull it at the same time that you're rolling it and rotating it and everything. So that's just trying to create more space through all those joints. So left arm goes behind left shoulder. We try to get a gentle shoulder stretch. And then here we go. Chin drops down towards collarbone, rotates or scrapes across the collarbone, looks over right shoulder, Adam's apple chin, roll backwards, and at center line, we come back facing forwards, gaze drops down, chin rolls forwards, a little bit of a deeper range of motion or a little bit further, scrape across collarbone, roll back, gaze comes center, and then we roll the chin forward again. Maybe this side it's a little bit easier to get your chin down. Maybe it's a little bit easier to scrape your chin across collarbone, or looking backwards, or lifting up and coming forwards. Maybe it's all really challenging. 2 more reps. Keep increasing the range of motion, provided that you feel you have permission to do so. If the stretch across your chest or your neck is getting too strong, then just dial it back a little bit. Cool, that's our last rep. So we're gonna do the same idea, but we're gonna do it from top side of the hip right through to top side of the shoulder. So the whole rest of our spine, pretty much, we're gonna be moving here. For this one, I'm gonna go into a little groin stretch. So you guys can do this from standing and just try to focus on the back. But just to add a little bit more time stretching our body, and to kind of challenge our capacity to multitask here, you can add in this little groin stretch. I'm just going to cross my hands over my shoulders. And this is just like that neck movement, but we're going to do the full thing. So we're going to roll forwards from shoulder line down through the hips. I'm going to rotate to the right. I'm going to look, left shoulder blade goes behind, right shoulder blade goes behind right hip. I lean back, I rotate to the left, left shoulder blade over left hip, and I roll forwards. And again, I rotate right, right shoulder blade behind right hip, roll backwards, rotate left, left shoulder over left hip, roll left side coming forwards. Keep trying to make the movement a little bit bigger each time. Try not to go all dizzy. And try to keep that stretch active through your groin if you can. So keep trying to push the hips forward and keep trying to pull the legs apart gently. If it's too much to concentrate on, no big deal. One last rep. Cool. Just something to note, we're going to go to the other side. As you're folding forwards, try not to let your hips sit backwards, kind of like a deadlift, okay? So as you're rolling forwards, if this stretch seems like it's relaxing, that could be because your hips are just translating too far backwards. So we'll try to be mindful of that on this next set. Arms cross over, and we'll roll chest forwards, clamp into the ground, twist or rotate left, left shoulder blade reaches behind left hip, lift the chest, lift the sternum, back bend, rotating right, right shoulder over right hip, and then roll yourself forwards. Remember that stretch. Rotating to the left, left shoulder over left hip, back bend, rotating right, right shoulder over right hip, flexing, rotating left, left shoulder over, lean back, twisting right, right shoulder behind you, and then that shoulder drops forward, trying to round everything out just a little bit more, keeping the hips still, keeping the stretch active. And one last time, rotating left, over left shoulder, lean back, rotating right, right shoulder over right hip, roll forwards, and come on out of that. Nice. So the next thing we'll work at is we'll do just a little bit of work through our shoulder blades. When we're doing this one, oh yeah, you're gonna be able to see me there really well. When we're doing this one, we'll try to fix our arm to be externally, our shoulder, to be externally rotated. So I'm trying to get my elbow pit to point outwards. Maybe this is uncomfortable on your wrists. So for me, I'm gonna have my wrists or my fingers pointing right at myself. So I'm really open. But you might find that you can just spin out of this a little bit so that your hands are actually facing sideways. And maybe that gives you a little bit of external rotation without really forcing it. What we're gonna do from this tabletop position, I'm gonna shrug my shoulders. So I'm gonna bring them to my ears. I'll keep them shrugged, squeeze them tight to spine. Tight to spine, I'll pull them away from the ears, so I'm depressing them to the hips. Hold them depressed, push them apart. Keep pushing them into the ground, raise them to the ears, squeeze them tight to spine, pull them backwards to the hip, push them apart. Up to ear, tight to spine, back to hip, push apart. Remember, every single rep, we've got 2 more in this direction. You're trying to fight for a little bit more range of motion, provided you're not inviting too many compensations through your body. This is your last rep. Up to ear, tight to spine, pull backwards, and push down. So we're trying to notice if the rest of our spine is like wiggling around, or if our neck is pecking, we're trying to keep all that stuff still. We're trying to keep the elbows from bending as well. Here we go, other way. We're gonna go push apart, pull down to hip, squeeze tight to spine, shrug to shoulders. Push apart, or push to floor, pull back towards hip, tight to spine, up to the ears, push them apart. Down to the hip, tight to spine, every rep if you can, trying to get a little bit bigger. Push them apart, down to hip, tight to spine, shrug to shoulders, push them apart. One more time, to hip, to spine, to shoulders, and apart. Cool. So definitely a tricky one. If you found that there's some irritations in your wrist, you'll definitely want to just come out of that a little bit, and you might also be trying to just gas pedal more into the floor. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work at some rotations through our arm. So what I want you guys to do right now is I just want you to, I'm just going to sit back here. Really doesn't matter, you can do this from standing, whatever. But right arm is up in the air. And I just want you guys to think about trying to pivot off of the line of the elbow. So where my upper arm is in space, it's not moving at all. And I'm just rotating from that elbow pivot backwards. And then I rotate from the elbow forwards. Rotating backwards, rotating forwards. So you guys can feel as you're twisting backwards, gently, what's all that stuff pulling backside of your arm to do that? And as you try to twist forwards, you guys can feel like this stuff, front side of your shoulder, that's responsible for rotating in each direction, right? So that'll be important for this drill. I gotta go backwards hat again here. I gotta get tough for this one. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lie down on our stomach. We're going to try to keep our hips rolling backwards so we stay hollow through the stomach. We'll try to keep our chin tucked. We're going to spend some time trying to rotate against the floor or an object, and then we're going to twist off of that object or off of the floor. So this is where having like a yoga block or even just like a book or anything like that, just some sort of object could be helpful. Let's do our first round of twisting in each direction off of the floor, and we'll decide from there if we really want to bring something into it. The twist is going to last for about 30 seconds in each direction, and each way, I want you to gradually increase the tension, like you're just gently applying the gas going one way, gently applying the gas going the other, rather than just throwing a ball in each direction, okay? So here's what we're doing. Lying down on stomach. We can just put our other hand, we can make a fist with it, and we can just put it on our forehead, or put our forehead on the fist, and arm is 90 degrees out to the side. You guys can see okay there? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure my shoulders roll down and back, and I'm just going to gently twist or pivot from that elbow line again, and I'm going to try to press my arm into the floor. So I feel my forearm from my elbow through my wrist, pressing into the ground, and I'm just gently increasing the intensity of that push. So I keep turning that dimmer switch up a little bit harder and harder. The light in my shoulder keeps getting brighter and brighter. And we're just going to keep trying to increase, 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 rotate with everything you've got into the floor. Keep your elbow pinned on the ground. And now here we go. Let it relax over 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the elbow glued to the floor. Keep the shoulder down and back and start rotating your hand off of the ground. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Twisting from the elbow line. Keep the elbow glued to the floor. Keep your stomach hollow. Keep twisting backwards. Go, 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 go. Shoulder down. Keep twisting. Twist. 5, 4, 3, 2, parachute down to the floor. Gentle, let it relax. Cool. So we're going to do that exact same thing again. I'm going to set up a yoga block on its lowest end so that I'm starting from a bigger bend or twist backwards. So that means it's going to be harder for me to do this because I'm going deeper to my range of motion or the end range that I can twist my arm backwards. When I try to lift it off the block, it's probably not really going to go anywhere, but I'm going to try. So here we go. I set myself back up. I'm lying down on the floor, forehead resting on my left fist. My right palm goes onto the block, and my right elbow stays glued to the floor. We're going to start building up a rotation into the block. So imagine like you're throwing a ball. You're rotating your elbow forwards to push your hand or your palm into the floor or into that object you place. Keep building up the intensity. Keep building, go as hard as you can. Make sure you keep holding your shoulder down and back and your stomach staying hollow. Gently let that contraction go over 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And now twist off of the floor, twist off of the block. Try to twist your elbow backwards. Keep it glued to the floor. Holding it, holding it, holding it. Keep twisting, twisting, twisting. Try to get it right off the floor, right off the block. If you're starting to shake, hold on. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. Gently let the muscles relax. Let it all go real soft. Good, you guys. So exact same thing on the other side. I'm going to do my first rep on the floor, and maybe I'll do my second rep up on that block. So making a fist with my right arm now, and I'll rest my forehead when I'm lying down on the floor on my right arm, or my right hand. My left arm bent 90 degrees out beside me, shoulder rolled, shoulder is rolled down and back, and I'm going to twist from the elbow to push my palm into the floor. 30% of maximum effort. Now bring it up to 40% effort, 50% effort, 60% effort, 70% effort, and now hold at 70. Hold 70% effort. Try to just maintain the intensity of that contraction for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently let the muscles go. And now twist the other way. Twist the wrist backwards. Twist, twist, twist. Keep going, keep going. Keep the elbow glued to the floor and pivot off the line of the elbow. Thinking of rotating on that very specific axis. Try not to let your wrist twist backwards. So keep length in the wrist. Hold, hold, hold. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let that go. Be mindful when you're trying to rotate your arm backwards, where your shoulder is missing strength to rotate, your knuckles are going to start bending backwards. Your wrist is going to try to bend backwards to make you think you're twisting further behind you. So be mindful of that. Here's our second rep now. I'm just going to increase the effort by putting my fist up on a block. You don't have to do that. You could stay on the floor. So forehead resting in the right fist, left arm bent 90 degrees. And now let's push that fist into the block or into the floor and build it up. 30% effort, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%. We're going to go a little harder this time. 80% effort. Try to hold 80%. You're not rotating as hard as you possibly can, but you're getting closer to the max you possibly could. Hold it there. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Gently let the shoulder relax. Let all those muscles relax. And now start firing it up the other way. Twist backwards. Keep the elbow glued to the floor. Keep length in the wrist. Try not to let the knuckles bend backwards. The only thing that's moving right now is your arm twisting backwards from the shoulder line. Shoulder blade staying down and back. Twist, twist, twist. Fight for it. Stay hollow in the stomach. Keep your neck long. Keep your chin down. Twist, twist, twist. Neck should be relaxed. Elbow pushing down while it twists backwards for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it all go. Good job, you guys. So you can sit yourselves upright. Yeah, good. So what I want you guys to try and do right now is just being mindful. You can like take a knee if you want. I'm just gonna sit back on my yoga block. But if you were to bend your arms 90 degrees and you were just trying to recreate that rotation we did in both directions, how active do the muscles kind of along the sides and the back of your neck feel relative to just like your shoulder, your arm. So think about just this stuff on the outskirts of your shoulder and then kind of going into the upper part of your arm, just that little section there. Hopefully that's all it really feels like working, but hopefully it doesn't, your neck muscles don't feel like they're grabbing a whole lot. The shoulder blades are pulling down towards the hip. So this stuff should feel relatively relaxed, like it's not grabbing at all. If you notice that this stuff feels like it's really squeezing, then spending some more time on that last drill that we just did on the floor and trying to get the shoulder to drop and relax more and more, trying to keep these muscles from getting so activated or from trying to grab could be really helpful for you. So I'd recommend doing that drill again. That rotation stuff is going to be really important for our ability to reach our arm overhead, as we're going to go through right now. So just the same as it's like a recurring theme, right? We keep doing stuff where it's always like some sort of push or pull in one direction and then the opposite direction. So now we're going to go to arms straight overhead. If you guys aren't very flexible in the shoulder, maybe you want to be on more of like a 90-degree angle if you're really struggling with this. But from overhead, we're going to do the same idea. We're going to push down into the ground as hard as we can and build it up. And then we're going to try to lift a straight arm off of the floor. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Cool. So lying down on my stomach again, through all of this stuff, trying to stay hollow while I have my arm reaching overhead, keeping that in mind. So I'll lie down on my stomach and we'll do right arm first. So right arm is reaching overhead. Forehead resting in left fist, hollow out your body, keep length in your arm, try to pull your shoulder down and back, try to bring your elbow off of the floor and just push your palm or your fist into the ground. So use strength of your shoulder to push fist into floor and just build that up, 30% effort. 40% effort, 50% effort, 60% effort, 70% effort, and hold. Shoulder down and back, lengthen the elbow, trying to rotate the arm outwards a little bit, let those muscles go gently, and now try to lift off of the floor. Keep lengthen the shoulder while you do so, or lengthen the arm. Twisting shoulder out, trying to lift harder and harder, trying to stay hollow through the stomach. Breathing, lifting, twisting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, let it down. Nice. Good job, you guys. So what we'll do from here is we're just going to do a couple of little hovers. So we're going to think about trying to lift our arms straight up to where we got it and over an obstacle. I've got a yoga block here that I'm going to use, and so I'll just demo a quick rep for you. If I lie myself down, I have my arm at that yoga block. Closer to my shoulder is harder. Closer towards my fist would be easier. Plus adding height to it would be harder, easier. So I'm just going to make it pretty easy for myself here. Lying down, I would lift, bring it over and come down. Lift, bring it over and come down. If you guys don't have an object right now, it's not a big deal at all. Just think about trying to come as far back as you can. Hold the height as you go sideways and drop down. So we're just doing 15 degrees worth of motion, lifting and dropping. We're going to do 5 reps. So here we go. We'll drop down, arm overhead. It's right arm. We just worked it. We'll lift, bring it sideways, drop down. Lift straight up, bring it to center, drop down. That's 1 rep. Nice and slow. 2 reps. Stay hollow. Pull from all that stuff you were just connecting to. That's 3. That's 4. And that's 5. Nice. So now same thing on the other side. Arm is reaching. We'll try to find length in the arm. We're going to try to rotate the shoulder outwards. Forehead is going to rest on the fist. And think just 30% effort pushing your fist into the ground by the strength of your shoulder. Try to keep your stomach hollow. Bring it up to 40% effort. Bring it up to 50%. Keep length in your wrist, length in the elbow. Twisting shoulder out, 60%. Now hold at 70%. Hold, hold, hold. Keep driving length. Keep rotating shoulder out. Keep pushing down. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let those muscles relax. Re-hollow if you need to. And now lift. Lift, lift, lift. The higher you try to lift, the further you got to reach, the harder you got to tuck your stomach. Roll the hips backwards. Roll and roll and roll them. Try not to let the arm drift sideways. Keep it tight to your ear. Keep pulling it into your ear. Keep lifting, lift, lift, lift. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Parachute, slow, letting it down, controlled, relaxed. Now, same thing. We're going to put a little block there, or just make an imaginary one. We'll lift and come over that block. Lift and come over that block. We're going to do 5 reps. So, hollow stomach, lift, lift, over the block. That's 1. Lift, hover over, lift, hover over. 2. 3. 4. And 5. Nice. Awesome, you guys. Good job. So, just doing some work in the elbows now. So you guys can sit yourselves upright. You can. It's kind of hard to get up, right? Probably felt pretty good lying down there. I looked at my screen and everybody just looked dead. Working the elbows. What I want you guys to try to focus on, we can stand up right now if you like. You can sit onto your block and get a little bit more of that time doing that ankle stretch. Totally up to you. But for our elbows, we're thinking about being able to rotate them towards our midline, and that would be like our pull-up grip, right? Or we can rotate the elbows outwards. We can twist that forearm out away from our midline, and that would be like our chin-up grip. And what I want you guys to notice is we're going to go through just some circles of that elbow. And I want you guys to try to notice how far can you turn each palm outwards. That palm should actually be able to face diagonally away from the shoulder. But if you find that the palm is facing directly to the shoulder, or it doesn't even twist to the shoulder line on either side, that's something to really be mindful of. So arms straight out in front of you. I'm going to drop mine down just a little bit. Shoulders down and back, keeping some length through my spine, and really dialing into that upper part of the forearm, right at that elbow pit. I'm going to twist that stuff out, and I'll keep twisting it outwards while I bend towards the bicep. Now I'll twist the elbow pits in. I'll straighten out the arms. I'll keep them twisted in. I'll lift back up towards shoulder. I'll twist them out. Pull them back down. So now let's increase the effort. Let's try just a little bit harder. That was rep 1. Twist in. And drop down. Hold it in. come up, twist out. That's 2 reps. Now third rep, try to twist even a little bit harder, make a bit of a better connection to your elbows. That's my chef, my top chef. Twist back up, twist out. If only you guys could smell what's happening in that kitchen right now, you'd be jealous. Come back up, turn in. Stay in, lift up, twist out. This is 4. And now here we go, 5th. Keep twisting out, hard, hard, hard. Let's slow it down a little bit. Twist, twist, twist. Turning in, slow. Maybe you get a little bit of a shake happening through your elbow, through your shoulders as you're really, really forced, or I shouldn't say forced, that's a poor choice of words, but you're just really gathering as much tension as you can through the elbow. Twist out, twist, twist, twist. Pull the shoulders down back while you're twisting from the elbow outwards harder. Straighten out. Good, and then just let that go. Awesome, you guys. You can shake it all out. Where is? Can you guys all talk?
Yep.
Cancel spotlight video. How did you find that, you guys? Good?
Yeah, that really some things out.
Questions?
No, that was good, Danny. I felt a lot of bones crack, so.
What's that?
I felt a lot of bones cracking, so that was good. In that, like, that one?
Yeah. Yeah. If you guys are finding that you're getting like cracking and stuff like that, that's not necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're finding it that's something that like cracks on one go and it's not like keeps re-cracking.
Right.
Then that can be basically is like a gas that builds up between the joints that's escaping and it's making that noise.
Yeah.
Stuff that is like repeatedly clicking. Every time I do my shoulder circle, I get a click, it clicks, and it's not going away with the repetition within the moment. I would say that that could possibly be better to decrease the range of motion until the clicking goes away. And then over time, build that range of motion back up again. It's not to say it's a bad thing, particularly if there's no pain associated with it. It's just a click. Mm-hmm. But it does mean that like a tendon is kind of flicking over part of the bone and it's making that clicking noise. And so if that tendon is flicking over the bone, that's more friction. In the long term, we can say that that's going to wear down on the tendon a lot faster than if the joints were aligned with more space for that stuff to move. So like I say, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we can keep in mind that likely that's going to wear it down sooner than later. So if we decrease the range of motion until we find what we can do without it happening, then we'll probably find over time the body will kind of adjust itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Other questions? All good?
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are around on Friday at 1 o'clock, we're going to do our little like 15 or 20-minute deal. And I'm always happy to hear any sort of requests. Feel free to fire me a message or send carrier pigeon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Danny.
Take care, you guys. You did really well. Good
Bye.
to hang with you.
Enjoy your dinner.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.